Minestrone soup is a beloved classic, celebrated for its hearty warmth and the vibrant flavors of fresh vegetables. It's the kind of dish that brings comfort on a chilly evening, fills your kitchen with inviting aromas, and satisfies your hunger with wholesome goodness. Despite its rich, layered taste, minestrone is surprisingly easy to make, perfect for both beginner cooks and seasoned home chefs looking for a simple yet impressive meal. Imagine coming home after a long day and being greeted by the scent of simmering vegetables, fragrant herbs, and a hint of garlic. That's the magic of minestrone. This soup is endlessly adaptable, making it ideal for using up whatever vegetables you have on hand. Whether you're craving a light, broth-based version or something more robust and filling, minestrone accommodates your preferences, dietary needs, and the contents of your pantry. Let's begin by gathering our ingredients. The beauty of minestrone is its flexibility, but the essentials are what give it its signature character. You'll need a selection of fresh vegetables. Think carrots, celery, and onions as your base, followed by zucchini, green beans, or spinach for color and nutrition. A can of diced tomatoes provides acidity and depth, while cannellini or kidney beans add protein and heartiness. To enhance the flavor, you'll want a few cloves of garlic, a bay leaf, and dried Italian herbs like oregano and basil. Finally, a handful of small pasta shapes, such as ditalini or elbow macaroni, transforms the soup into a full, satisfying meal. Begin by preparing your vegetables. Peel and finely chop 1 onion, 2 carrots, and 2 stalks of celery. Dice a zucchini and, if you have them, trim and chop a handful of green beans into bite-sized pieces. Mince 2 to 3 cloves of garlic and set everything aside. Open a can of diced tomatoes and a can of beans, draining and rinsing the beans to remove excess sodium. Gather your herbs and measure out about a teaspoon each of dried oregano and basil. For the pasta, you'll need about half a cup, but you can adjust this to your liking. Now, let's start cooking. Heat a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in a large pot over medium heat. As the oil shimmers, add the chopped onions, carrots, and celery. Sauté these aromatic vegetables for about 5 to 7 minutes, stirring occasionally until they begin to soften and the onions turn translucent. This process forms the flavorful backbone of your soup, known as a soffritto in Italian cooking. Next, add the minced garlic, stirring for about 30 seconds until it releases its tempting aroma. Toss in your zucchini and green beans and continue to cook for another minute or two, allowing the vegetables to mingle and develop their flavors. Sprinkle in the dried oregano and basil, and season with a generous pinch of salt and black pepper. Pour in the can of diced tomatoes, along with their juices, and stir well. Then, add about 6 cups of vegetable broth, enough to fully submerge the vegetables, but leaving room for the pasta and beans. If you like, drop in a bay leaf for extra depth. Turn up the heat and bring the soup to a gentle boil, then reduce it to a simmer. Let it bubble away for about 15 minutes, uncovered, so the vegetables continue to soften and the flavors meld together. After this initial simmer, it's time to add the beans and pasta. Stir them into the pot, making sure they're evenly distributed. Continue to cook the soup for another 10 minutes or until the pasta is tender, but still al dente. If you're using leafy greens like spinach or kale, add them in the final few minutes, just long enough for them to wilt and turn a vibrant green. Taste the soup and adjust the seasoning as needed. You might want a little more salt, a dash of pepper, or an extra sprinkle of herbs. If the soup seems too thick, add a bit more broth or water to reach your desired consistency. Remember, minestrone is meant to be rustic and homey. Don't worry about perfection, just focus on flavors that make you smile. At this point, your kitchen will be filled with the irresistible scent of homemade soup. Ladle generous portions into bowls, and if you like, finish with a drizzle of good olive oil or a sprinkle of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. A handful of chopped fresh parsley or basil adds a bright, fresh note that beautifully complements the rich, savory broth. What makes minestrone so special is its adaptability. You can swap out vegetables based on what's in season or what you have on hand. In the summer, try adding fresh corn, zucchini, or diced bell peppers. In the cooler months, root vegetables like potatoes, sweet potatoes, or butternut squash add a comforting sweetness. If you prefer a heartier soup, stir in some cooked Italian sausage or pancetta at the beginning, or add a spoonful of pesto just before serving for an extra burst of flavor. The pasta, too, is flexible. Small shapes work best, as they're easier to eat with a spoon, but you can use whatever you have lying around, even broken spaghetti or leftover noodles from another meal. Just be sure not to overcook the pasta, as it will continue to absorb liquid as the soup sits. Minestrone is also a wonderful make-ahead meal. In fact, it often tastes even better the next day, as the flavors have more time to develop. Store any leftovers in the refrigerator for up to 4 days, or freeze individual portions for a quick, nourishing meal anytime. If you know you'll be storing the soup, consider cooking the pasta separately and adding it to each bowl just before serving, to prevent it from getting too soft. Nutritionally, minestrone is a powerhouse. Packed with fiber, vitamins, and minerals from the vegetables and beans, it supports a healthy diet while still feeling indulgent. The absence of heavy cream or excessive fat means it's light enough for lunch, yet filling enough for dinner. For those with dietary restrictions, it's easy to make minestrone vegan or gluten-free. Simply use gluten-free pasta and double-check your broth and canned goods for any hidden animal products. This soup is more than just a recipe. It's an invitation to get creative in the kitchen. Use it as a canvas for your favorite flavors, or as a way to reduce food waste by incorporating odds and ends from the vegetable drawer. Serve it with crusty bread for dipping, or alongside a crisp salad for a complete meal. Minestrone's roots stretch back centuries, with each region of Italy bringing its own twist to the classic. Some versions include rice instead of pasta. Others are enriched with a Parmesan rind simmered in the broth. The essence, however, remains the same: a celebration of simple, wholesome ingredients, lovingly prepared and shared with others. As you savor your homemade minestrone, you'll taste the sweetness of carrots, the earthiness of beans, and the bright tang of tomatoes. Each spoonful is balanced by the savory notes of garlic and herbs, the gentle bite of tender pasta, and the subtle richness of olive oil. It's a dish that nourishes both body and soul, reminding us that the best meals are often those that bring us together around the table. So the next time you're in need of comfort, warmth, or a delicious way to use up your vegetables, remember this easy minestrone soup. With just a few steps and simple ingredients, you'll create a meal that's as satisfying to make as it is to eat. Enjoy every spoonful, knowing you've crafted a timeless classic, one that's sure to become a favorite in your own kitchen, shared with family, friends, or even just a quiet moment to yourself.